Meeting order.
Councilman Munger,
Present.
Councilman Karakini,
Present.
Supervisor Keating,
Present.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Present.
Councilwoman Martin.
Present.
First thing I want to do tonight, for those of you who may not have heard, I want to make this is tough to do. I want to call for a moment of silence. If you've read the news, there so happened we had a young gentleman who served our community, worked in a recreation department, and sadly he had passed away recently. So, with that, I want to call for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. On that note, I do want to reach out and thank our board members who came together, people from our community. We had Tom Hamburg, who I had reached out to, Supervisor Jim Shaw over in Hamburg. He gave us resources to help out with when one of our counselors had to leave to be with their family, their friends at that point in time. We had the Hamburg School Systems. They offered counselors for our summer rec staff to help them deal with that time. And again, we had many other people in the community. I had a lot of parents reach out to myself. I know Councilman Karakini, he had been on the phone, quite a few hours as well from that late that Sunday night, into Monday morning. There's a lot of us that came together as a community, and that's important. And so I want to thank everybody for coming together at that time. Okay, and we'll move on to the question.
Councilwoman Martin, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no other preliminary matters for tonight. Moving on to regular business. Under item number 1, we have the correction and adoption of minutes from the July 18th, 2018 board meeting. Councilwoman Lukacek.
Thank you, Supervisor Keating. I've had a chance to review the minutes and I do not see any need for corrections. I make a motion to approve the minutes from July 18th, 2018.
A second.
Councilman Munger,
Abstain.
Councilman Karakini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item number 2 under regular business is the consideration of all fund bills. Councilman Munger.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Yes, at this time I've had the moment to read through and audit the bills and would like to make a motion that they be paid in the amount of $111,744.27.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Karakini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to item number 3 under correspondence. We have the income statement provided to us from the bookkeeper, which was dated July 31st, 2018. We have a letter from Bethany Pryor for the Zoning Board of Appeals for a leave of absence. We also have a planning board notification for the cancellation of their August 14th, 2018 board meeting, and their next regularly scheduled meeting is Tuesday, September 11th, 2018 at 7:30 in the planning board room. And then we also have the a memo from our code enforcement officer. This particular one, some of the board members have requested additional information, and we'll be getting that for them. But what this memo from the code enforcement officer is that on August 9th, 2018, an on-site inspection was made at the Sprague Mobile Home Park located at 8229 Boston State Road, and that there were numerous violations present, and a notice of the violations will be going out to the park owners. Therefore, the Town of Boston Building Department cannot recommend the issuance of a license for the Sprague Mobile Home Park. And that correspondence was received and filed. right, moving on to new business. I'll open up the floor. Please come to the microphone and state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Brian Burns. I live at 6556 Chestnut Lane. In March of this year, I was awarded a piece of property that was a long legal battle, cost me a lot of money. And on April 18th, I came to the board and asked them to remove some barricades allowing me street access to that property. The board unanimously agreed that they should be removed. Mr. Telak, as normal, refuses to remove them, costing the town more money and legal expenses. I went back to court. I now have a court order saying that the barricades can no longer be there. And so I'm again asking the board to rectify the problem and remove the barricades to allow me street access to that property. And I'm also asking Mr. Telak personally and as a highway department to remove those so that the town doesn't incur more legal costs. And Bob is just insubordinate and doesn't pay attention to what's good for the town. And it's costing the taxpayers a lot of money. Thank you.
Mr. Burns, can I ask you a question?
It's not your turn.
Okay.
Hi, Kathy Pajerko, President of the Boston Historical Society. I wanted to invite you guys all out to the fair, to the historical building, to check out our display. And I also had some other really kind of cool news. This summer, I've been working on a project with a gentleman who's a playwright. And long story short, he wrote a play about the John Love and the Thayer brother hanging. And we're working on grant money to offset costs and everything. But long story short, there's going to be a public reading next Friday, August 23rd at the Buffalo Central Library at 6 p.m. October 3rd at the Buffalo Historical Society at 6 p.m. And I just got word today that we have approval for bringing the play out to Boston at Boston Valley on the 22nd of October. And the time is yet to be determined on that, so.
Do you have any flyers or anything for that, Kathy?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet for Boston, but for the one next week, I do.
Okay.
Can you email those to us?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, if you can get those over to us, what I'll do is I'll ask,
So,
we'll get those out on the town website and on the town Facebook page for you.
okay,
Yeah,
and the
let everybody in the community know.
okay, and the title is Something Wicked. So,
Is the playwright gonna read the,
it's a reading, so yes.
that's awesome, okay.
It's going to be totally awesome. I'm really psyched, so don't get scared.
Thank you.
Richard Helberg, 9752 Lengo Road. That's in the town of Boston. Anyways, first of all, you folks don't really know who I am except for Councilman Munger. He's been
I've known you a few years.
for a long, long time. And just to give you a little bit of myself, next to my wife, I have two loves in life. The Boy Scouts of Boston Valley, Troop 491 and Pet 391, and the American flag. Okay, now you know what I'm about. That's Dick Helmbrecht. I have met Micah. He was at our last Eagle ceremony. Incidentally, I'm in Troop 491, just so you understand, over its growth has had 122 young men come through it. 25 of them made Eagle. That's a 22% ratio, when the national average is only 5. We have great young men here in the town of Boston. But anyways, about 3 weeks ago, I received in the mail an envelope to the Boy Scouts from the Boston Town Hall. And I had a little guess what might be in it. It is a check. It's a handwritten check. And there's no explanation anywhere what it's for. It's for $50.
That's the refund for your use facility. There should have been an invoice that went along with that.
That's the refund for the use of the building when.
For the pancake dinner.
For the pancake breakfast?
Breakfast. Yep.
Yeah, if you came for dinner, that's why you missed it.
I was there. Don't call me late for dinner.
Anyway, okay. So I'm going to assume our check was for 100, so you kept $50 for the use of the facility? Is that an assumption?
That was for the refund. Do you have that sheet by any chance?
That would have been $100. If that is the refund of 50, it would have come from the bookkeeper's office.
I'll look into that.
If we are charged for the use of the building for the pancake breakfast, so be it. But I'll tell this board, the first board in 15 years that have charged the Boy Scouts for the use of anything. Okay?
Mhm.
Then, secondly, if you're going to charge the Boy Scouts, and this would upset me terribly if the Boy Scouts had to pay for the use of the Lion Shelter for having a community function called Flag Day. Flag Day was started the Second Continental Congress back in June 14, 1777, wrote the first flag proclamation, which said, hence, the flag of the colony should have 13 red and white stripes and 13 stars. That's a long time ago. And our young men have learned the respect of our flag. And they have no problem with coming there on any night that happens to be. In fact, one of them, it's his birthday, but he's there, helping, doing things, standing in front of the public. The public does come. We get people come from Orchard Park, from Hamburg, to help celebrate our flag's birthday. It's a celebration. New York State is one of 2 states, the other one being Pennsylvania, that Flag Day is considered a holiday. Now, I don't feel, my personal opinion, this is JJ, he shares my opinion, that if this board wants to charge the Scouts for using the Lion Shelter for that particular type of celebration, they do it for the town and our country, and they have learned a lot. Those young men respect the flag, they respect your town, they respect our country, and they have learned that through part of it being for their town. And I would hate to go back and tell them that this town is now going to charge us for it. You know, that would also double the cost of running that. The Boy Scouts pay for refreshments, absolutely free to the public. We give them ice cream and cookies. It is a birthday. It's a great celebration, and it should be treated that way. And I'm very adamant about that. I am a vexillologist, and which is one who studies flags. And I go around Western New York teaching the history of our flag. So, in fact, I was at the fair on Sunday teaching. So, I respect the flag, I love the flag, I love our country, I've served our country. And so I would like to know if you are planning to charge us $50 for the use of a Lion Shelter that wouldn't be used that day anyways.
Right. That's actually something that we have been working on. As you're aware, over the past, 2 years, the use of facility was in one format 2 years ago, changed last year to a different format. And actually the town clerk and the board and I, we've been working on updating that document because there's, for right now, I'll just leave it that there's changes that we're looking into for whether it's charging for the facilities, how the form is filled out. But that is something, I appreciate your information. That's something we'll certainly take into consideration as we're going through that new use facility documentation in the fee schedule.
Mr. Helmreich and I both feel that because of the national and state holiday attributes of Flag Day, and the willingness of Troop 491 to actually participate and conduct these ceremonies, there should be no need for an application to use the Lions Shelter for those purposes.
Well, if other people request it, that's why, because it all goes on the calendar that's maintained out of the town clerk's office. That's the reason for the documentation.
So the application didn't come in without a check.
Well, for the use of facilities, that's how we track.
Right.
Let's say if your organization came in and approached the town board and wanted to use it for that specific day, and then we had organization ABC come in and want to use it for the same day, if we didn't have a checks and balance in the process, you might have two entities coming in or somebody in the community that want to use it for, let's say a birthday is what, another use for the Lions Shelter. That's how we control, who's using that, and they ask for the use of the facilities.
The concern here is schedule. The idea would be the town of Boston can expect on an annual basis that Troop 491 would conduct Flag Day ceremonies using the Lions Shelter.
Jason, could we create a resolution that would allow that? A scheduling resolution?
Create a
Or should I be asking
Town
Sean?
event with them.
It could be a town event, and the Boy Scouts
Right.
would just be
The
the
host.
leaders of the event.
Correct.
So if it's an actual town event, open to the citizens, it's commemorating a holiday.
Right.
And in the spirit of cooperation, if this is something that needs to be discussed by the board, so be it. We have,
Plenty of time.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, if we can take a little time to figure out the best way to move forward with it for you guys, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Boston is one of the few towns in the southern tier that has a Flag Day celebration. Yeah? I'm proud of it. It would be nice if you folks were also in tune and being proud of the fact that it's celebrating our flag, our country. Our young men are putting it on with great enthusiasm, and we've had all kinds of speakers. When you get a gold star mother to come and speak, it's heart-wrenching. And we've had that there. And you can't give more than being a gold star mother. So please, if there's a charge for use of facilities for a fundraiser like the pancake brunch, so be it. That's okay. That's okay with me. It's not okay with Flag Day with me. Okay?
All right. Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Conrad, 7125 Taylor Road. And my concern is the traffic, Taylor and Eckerd. And it's, Eckerd has a stop sign on the eating part of Taylor, and Hamburg or Boston, I think, they also have a stop sign. Taylor is direct. The speed limit on Taylor is 40 miles an hour. Eckerd is 30 miles an hour. And people don't see the signs. They just do whatever the bleep they want to do, how fast they want to go. I sit in my living room, I look out, just watching TV, and these cars, many do not stop. I'm concerned about the residents that live there. We pay taxes. We have children, women with carriages, the children behind them with bikes. They have dogs. We need to be protected. We need patrol. It's this county. I've offered many different people, park along the side, whatever I can do, whatever. Just let people know that use our roads, all our roads, my neighbors and people here, that there's got to be a law. They think that they're in a cornfield and they can just whip it whatever they want to do. And we've been in the street, many of our neighbors, one of them incidentally 2 weeks ago. And on Taylor Road, I would say better than 60 miles an hour and almost cut her back. There should be no reason to live in fear. We need to protected and patrolled.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. My name is Rosalind Ochoa, and I live across the street from Denise. I've lived there for about a year, and I never would have bought the property had I known what I was up against when it comes to the traffic. I'm sure all of you have been at Eckhart and Taylor. You know you got to be super, super careful when you're at that two-way stop. You got to make sure you look because people come flying through there. We got motorcycles going 60 miles per hour, muscle cars, you know, when the summertime comes, it gets real nice outside, everybody gets their car out, you know, and they're testing it out. We got jack braking. I'm talking 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I wake up startled because I bought that old house, that old 1876 farmhouse. And my property line's right at the road. So, I mean, I've been like woken up completely startled at 4 a.m. and there's all kinds of shenanigans going on. It's like, it's insane. And it's every hour or so someone's peeling out, testing out their car, seeing how it goes. We're talking, they're going well above the recommended speed limit in that area. And there are a lot of pedestrians. It's the only place to really walk. There's no, you know, other trail along there. So you do have to walk along the road, and I don't feel safe. Ever. And I've got a 5-year-old son. I don't have a fence. I'm concerned when we're playing in the yard. You know, I wanted a peaceful country life, and it got, you know, crazy road noise. So I'm concerned for the safety of everybody. There have been 4 accidents. I think we're averaging about an accident every month, and it's usually because someone's slowing down. Thinking that the person who's actually at the stop sign is thinking that the other person's going to stop, but they're kind of slowing down because they're being really cautious, then they end up going, and it usually ends up in an accident like that. No fatalities yet, so I'm really hoping that it doesn't come down to that, because in my experience, I feel like that's when people start to pay attention. But this is like a serious issue for me, and I hope that you can come up with some suggestions to maybe influence people, like in a psychological way, to get them to slow down, like just making them more aware that as an actual neighborhood, even though it feels like country, you know, it's not in the village, but it's just outside. So. And you can have pancakes at dinner.
All said. Yeah, I do want to comment. It's actually Mrs. Conrad and I had spoken before, Denise. And so actually the first time that Denise and I had spoken, I had actually reached out to the Erie County Sheriff's Office. We did put up, I don't know if you happen to see it at all, but on Taylor Road. And I'd be happy to give it to you if you want to, hang out after the meeting. I have the supporting documentation. But the Erie County Sheriff's Office has those, they're basically like a traffic cam, if you will, but it'll, for about roughly a week, it will not display how fast the vehicle is going. And then after that next week, they then show the actual posted speed. However, all that data is still being collected. So I have the reports. We have, I think it's a little over 2 weeks. I don't know if Mrs. Conrad had shared that with you, but I do have that. I did reach out to the Erie County Sheriff's Office. They said they were going to increase patrols. I mean, we're not an authority board, we're a legislative board, but I have reached out to the sergeant over at the trooper barracks. They only have 6 troop cars, depending on how the state has their schedule set up. They've also committed to going and doing additional patrols. I hear what you're saying. I've been up there myself. I mean, I've traveled those roads. It's a matter of them catching them. As far as the town board, one of those roads is a county road, the other one is not. But then when you look at, even to change a speed limit, you need to, there's not that it's impossible, but there's a lot of additional mechanics behind the scenes that come in and start doing a traffic study and that sort of thing. But I certainly have reached out to Sergeant Ocharchek over at the Trooper Barracks and also the Erie County Sheriff's Office. If you're not seeing patrols, please feel free to let me know. I mean, you're telling me now. I'll let them know again tomorrow to see if they can.
Yeah, I saw the speed tracker, but it was closer to that. Is it Eden? The Eden Road? Taylor?
That was Taylor going out towards Hamburg.
Yeah, so that was like in the village, really. I mean, that's 30 miles per hour.
It's 45.
Oh, Okay.
That's 40, yeah.
Which,
That's,
I
that's,
never noticed a
that's
speed
kinda what-
tracker by
40
your
and
house.
30.
yeah, that's kind of what Mrs. Conrad and I are talking about. So that's that fast road coming in that you'll see a lot of,
45, yeah.
a lot of the trucking traffic come down that road.
45 to 30, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they also come up Eckhart, yeah.
Yes.
Right in front of my house. I'm like a goldfish. People are like, ooh.
Yeah, but if you like, seriously, if you'd like to see the report, the Erie County
Yeah.
Sheriff's Office
I
was,
saw it, I just really feel like that, I don't know, the numbers don't add up to what I'm experiencing. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure.
it's- Yeah, I would like a speed tracker right where I live, because that's where it's happening,
Okay.
yeah. for
And
sure.
you're on the, you're on, maybe what, so you're on the opposite side. I'll see if they can put one out there. So the county has two, they're trying to secure additional grant money for additional trackers. And if they can get it back out here, I'll certainly ask. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
you're welcome.
Jump in here. 8-9, I spoke with Sergeant Savage. I got a phone call within a half hour of my phone call.
Okay,
I
good.
explained everything, and he was, you gotta look like that, you poor thing. He says, you know, we want to be protected, that's it, and the noise is just overwhelmingly enough. But he said he was gonna give his notes to the captain.
Okay.
And it was Sergeant Savage, S-A-V-A-G-E. He was gonna give it to his captain, and that's the last I heard last week.
And I'm sorry, that was last week, you said?
8-9.
Thank you.
I'm Doug Conrad. We're the Bricklayers on the corner. We're in Boston. Rosie's in Hamburg, and Marion here is in Eden. So I just would suggest, I don't know how to do it, but Eckerd goes straight through, and there's a stop sign there. There's no stop sign on Taylor. Why can't they switch the stop signs around? And then nobody would stop there, and we wouldn't have, that would solve a lot of the problem, because the traffic that goes down Taylor is, you know, a tenth of what goes, you know, down our street. And if there was a flow there, then there wouldn't be stopping, there wouldn't be, I don't know, how do we go about looking at that?
It would come down to a traffic study. Is basically that's the first step that comes, you know, that'll come into play to see, identifying, changing a traffic pattern is essentially what you're doing.
Right.
Whether you're making it a four-way stop, two-way stop.
Well, four-way wouldn't work either. I mean, just saying it's, your tractor trailers would go straight through and they wouldn't have to stop.
Right.
Your milk trucks.
Right, but you can't have two opposing areas without some kind of traffic control device, or you would have a motor vehicle accident.
I understand.
So, but I mean, I will reach out to them, see what we can do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Does the risk report start the procedure?
And I'm sorry, well,
The risk report, your speed limit is, will that be the beginning of the works and how to get
that I
something
don't
done? You
know. I'm sorry, that I don't, I'm not familiar, I don't know, maybe the highway superintendent would know how that works, putting in some kind of a traffic study, for something like that, I don't know that off the top of my head.
You didn't do a traffic study on the
Okay, yeah.
I live on the corner of Eckerd and Taylor Roads, and I'm set back a little ways so I don't hear the traffic, the speeding so much. But my urgent concern is the number of accidents that happen there. It seems so frequent. Probably every other week or every 3 weeks there's a bad accident. The last one had emergency cars, police cars, sheriff's cars lined up for about a mile. And of course there were people involved, two people, two cars. And in one of them, they were lifting children out of the car. So I think it's important to think about the number of collisions that happen and we have always thought maybe a four-way stop would be helpful, because the cars that are supposed to stop don't see that they're supposed to, and they don't. So I'm really concerned about accidents.
Thank you very much.
Tom, before you speak, sorry, bud. I would also say that it'd be a great idea for you to reach out to your county representatives in addition to the town representatives, as those are county roads. So, I mean, we'll do what we can on our side, and trust me, I know that Jason will. But, yes, go ahead.
Zachary, would that be John Mills?
Yes.
Yes.
Contact him?
Yep.
You can reach out. You could reach out to legislator John Mills. You can reach out to either the commissioner, deputy commissioner of the Erie County Department of Public Works, which is Bill Gary. Bill Gary is the commissioner. Charlie Sickler is the deputy commissioner. You can reach out to them.
Okay.
I think I might have given you their contact information maybe the first or second time. But yeah, if you need any of that contact information, I certainly have it. Be happy to share.
Absolutely. Sorry, Tom.
I'm Clyde Rucker, 6910 Boston Crossroad, better known as Tom Rucker, two names. But anyhow, my complaint I have is really minor to what I'm hearing. I wonder how many of you from the town board has ever had to sit in these chairs out here through a whole town board meeting. They're terrible.
They're awful.
I wanted to move one of them and they were hooked, and I said, well, why are they hooked? And somebody said, well, because they could become a weapon. Well, I suggest that we get rid of these and get some big chairs that maybe people can't even pick up and throw, and maybe 25 or 30 of them, and keep these if you have an overthrown crowd, because they're so close together, you're squeezed in. They're built for like a 98-year, a 90-pound woman or something, 98-pound woman. They're not built for anybody that's got any size to them. So I hope you guys look into this next time you're changing furniture.
Well, I will confirm, sadly I will confirm that what you were told is correct. It's called PESH. PESH is the local government division, if you will, of OSHA. But they came in and yes, the insurance company and PESH cited us because they did state that the chairs were used as a weapon. And the town at the time had two options: secure the chairs with, as you see, very high-tech zip ties, or essentially purchase new chairs. But any chairs that we purchase have to have a locking bar in them. So now your cost per chair goes up because you have to have this metal plate that sandwiches the two bars, if you will, on the chair together, or has some kind of connecting mechanism so they can't be picked up. Yeah, it was an interesting audit. But yes, that is why they are zip tied, where before, as you may have experienced historically in past years, you could move the chairs, give yourself a little more space, yes. So we'll work on that, see what we can do.
I said we should buy an old church pews. Those are super comfortable, right?
They're more comfortable than these.